I'm Linda and I work at the Central Library. Today we're going to be making Ube Mochi. So how to make Ube Mochi. This mochi is a Hawaiian style mochi. It's a baked mochi. It's not the same as Japanese mochi, so just so you know that. It's really yummy, and the day you make it, the edges are going to be nice and crispy, and then if you don't eat it all the first day, you can store it at room temperature, and it's still really good. It just doesn't have the little crispy edges. I really enjoyed the crispy edges when it was fresh. You need salt, butter, coconut milk, mochiko or glutinous rice flour, eggs, vanilla, baking powder, sugar, and ube extract, and then I also forgot the milk. You can use milk or you can use another can of coconut milk and a little bit of water. The first thing we're going to do is mix together the dry ingredients. I've also turned on the oven to 350 degrees and I greased and lined a 9x13 pan with parchment paper so it'll make it easier to take the mochi out. So there's 2 cups of white sugar in here, and then we're going to add in 1 box of mochiko flour. It's also called sweet rice flour or glutinous rice flour, so you might not be able to find this brand, but at any Asian grocery store they should at least have some glutinous rice flour. So just pour that in. And then a teaspoon of baking powder. And half a teaspoon of salt. So we're just going to mix that together until well blended, and then we'll do the wet ingredients. Okay, so now we're gonna whisk together the wet ingredients. So it's 4 eggs, 2 cups of milk, a can of coconut milk, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 teaspoons of ube extract. You can get this at most Asian grocery stores or online. And we're just going to mix this together well, and then we'll be adding the wet ingredients to the dry. Use a bigger bowl than I did. I feel like this isn't enough room for everything. We'll be adding the butter last. Okay, so now we're going to combine the wet and the dry ingredients. This is what the wet mixture looks like when it's all mixed. And stir until well, we're going to stir it and then we're going to add the butter last. And I did switch out the bowls because that small bowl I used did not work for the wet ingredients. We're just gonna stir this all together. And you don't really have to worry about gluten like you would if you were making something with regular flour. Even though this is called glutinous rice flour, it doesn't have any gluten in it. It's just because of the texture that it makes when it's cooked. So you don't have to worry about over mixing. Now I'm gonna add the melted butter in, and just to note, it's important to use room temperature eggs when making this so that the butter doesn't like completely solidify when you add it. To keep this a little bit closer to room temperature. And make sure you mix it well with the butter. I'm gonna just keep on mixing until I don't see any butter left, and then we're gonna pour it into the pan. We're gonna bake this at 350 for 1 hour. Until the top starts looking a little bit cracked on top and browned, and then we'll let it sit. Okay, so here's the prepared pan. It's a 9x13. I just sprayed it with a non-stick spray and then lined it with a little bit of parchment paper to make the mochi easier to take out. Now I'm just gonna pour in the batter. We're just gonna bake this for 1 hour. I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. Okay, so here's the butter mochi. It's done now. It should be kind of golden on top and no longer look super shiny. So we just need to let this chill to room temperature and then cut it, and then you can eat it. Don't worry if your mochi deflates a little bit after it's out of the oven, because that's normal. Okay, so this is what the ube mochi looks like once it's cooled a little bit, and you cut it and you just store this at room temperature. You can store it for 2 to 3 days. You can put it in the fridge if you want, but it will harden a little bit. It's going to change the texture. And then, so if you do keep it in the fridge, get it back down to room temperature, or like microwave it a few seconds before you eat it. And then this one is like really dark. If you get the McCormick brand ube extract, it's going to be a lighter purple than this, but this butterfly brand ube extract is a pretty dark color. Enjoy!